So welcome back, Drifters. Today I've got a major problem that I need to fix, and it's my office. As you can see, the environment that I work in is not very good. So now, I know y'all are probably thinking, oh, I just made this thing up and I just made it look like shit just for this video. I certainly didn't. I most certainly did not. Like, my girlfriend can attest, this is I literally walked in here, set up the camera, and was like, this is my room. I mean, I literally have a big ass couch in here. This is like one of my most favorite couches, but it's so full of shit that you can't even sit on it. Like, it's a complete waste of space, serves no purpose. It doesn't even face the TV properly. Like, the TV is up against the wall. I have a stand where I keep most of my camera gear, but I can't even walk to it. There's literally like things in my way every time I try to go to it. Like, it doesn't make sense. I don't know why it's like that. I don't know why I've allowed it to be this way for so long. I mean, it's terrible. When I'm at my computer, I mean, it is a disaster. So now the other thing that takes up a lot of space in this room is the 3D printer. Now that thing is huge. I mean, it's massive. And the thing is I don't use it all the time. When I do use it, it's great. But most of the time, it's just kind of running in the background, and it's just making a lot of noise. And it's not really safe for me to be in here with it while it's running. Like, I have a filter and everything like that, but it's like, just for my own health reasons, I'd like to find a new space for it. And also to free up some space in here because I'm kind of limited on how much space I have to work with. So that's another thing that we're gonna have to figure out. I can't tell you just how much camera equipment I have jammed in this room. Like, it's insane. I just needed a place to put it. It just turned out that my office was like my storage area now too, because I don't really have room in the garage to put most of this stuff. I mean, I just have a bunch of empty boxes and cases, and most of this stuff's out because when I'm using it, I don't see the point in storing it just to take it back out. You know, they say that like your environment has a huge impact on your creativity. And I know another thing that they always say is that a messy room is the sign of a creative mind. Well, if that's the case, then I'm pretty damn creative because this place is a freaking disaster. Kind of torn on it. I really want to end up repainting these walls. I want to come up with either a new design or just a straight new color. I'm not sure exactly what I'm going to do there, but I do want to do something. So I guess the first thing that I need to do is get all this crap packed up and out of this room so I can figure out just how much space I have to work with and how I'm going to rearrange it. So let's get started. Sometimes the hardest part of any project is getting started because at the start it can seem so overwhelming, but once you get moving it all kind of flows together the way that you want it to. It can also be really helpful to ask for advice and get a second opinion on things because when it came to rearranging this room, I had a few ideas of how I wanted to set it up, but it was really helpful to get a second pair of eyes on it, and my girlfriend's really good at interior design, so she knows just what to look for to make it more functional. So I don't know why I thought I was going to get this done in a day. There's just no way in hell. Like, there's too much work that needs to be done, but at least now we have it kind of organized. We kind of know where everything's going to be. There's still a lot of stuff that I need to kind of put away and figure out exactly how it's going to be set up, but I wanted to make sure we had enough room to where we could pull everything away from the walls when we go to paint everything. The only thing is I need to come up with a design. So that's what I'm going to do right now, and then once we get the design hammered out, we can go ahead and start getting paint. Okay, so I am not a graphic designer, I am not an artist, but I do have an interesting mind, and I've been trying to learn how to use Illustrator, and I came up with a design that I think is going to be pretty dang cool on these walls. So check this out. This is the design I came up with. It's basically like geometric mountains. So I think it's going to look great on this back wall. The only thing is these walls are textured and it's kind of a pain to get these lines straight. So it's going to take a little bit of finessing to get that just right. So even if I can't get the lines perfect, it's going to be really hard to tell because even this wall, when you get close, you can see all the imperfections, but when you back away, you can't see anything. It looks good. Okay, so now that we have the design figured out, now I have to figure out just how many gallons of paint I need for this project. Oh yeah, my girlfriend came up with a cool idea to put the 3D printer in the closet. I said, come on, baby, turn the lights off. Kind of a nice thing because it frees up a lot of space on my desk. But what we need to figure out right now is going to be all the colors for this painting. So in order to save you all the boring details, I ended up just buying a bunch of cans of sample paint, one for each color. But yeah, that's how you do that when you're trying to figure out your colors. Okay, so we got back from Home Depot. We got the paint that we need, at least for our mural. I haven't quite figured out what I'm doing for the rest of the room, but at least for the mural, we can get started there. But before I do that, I need to go ahead and clean everything up. I'm gonna end up wiping down all the walls, just use some like mild dish soap, and clean it all up really good, and then rinse it with just a regular, just plain water, nothing too fancy. And then we're gonna start working on masking everything up, so that way we can actually get it kind of together the way that we want it. So yeah, this is gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of work, and hopefully I won't regret covering up this painting that I did before. We'll see. This is Tony. He's my old boy. He's been with me for 14 years. He's gonna help me out a little bit today.
So if you've seen any of my videos, you'll know that I suffer with indecision. Usually it's related to car stuff, but today it's all about color and paint. The problem is when I was in the store looking at all the different paint samples and I put them all together, for some reason it just didn't look right to me. So I ended up redesigning the design that I already made. You can kind of get a glimpse of what it's going to look like on my computer screen here. It's basically just Mount Fuji with a bunch of cherry blossoms.
All right, so we got back from Home Depot and we got a bunch of these color sample jars. These things are kind of pricey. I think we paid like $7 for each one. And it's just some basic paint, but it's going to be the cheapest way to do this since we have like I think 10 different colors that we're using for this mural, but this is one of the most efficient ways that we can get it done. Hopefully it's gonna work out. We'll see how this paint does. But right now what we're doing is we're basically blocking out the main design, just kind of getting the bulk of all the shapes on here. And then we're gonna go ahead and try to kind of do this layer by layer. We're gonna go from the very back layer, which is gonna be like the pink background, and work our way all the way to the front where like the trees and the bark and all that is. So yeah, this is going to be pretty interesting, pretty tricky because we've never really done anything like this at this scale. So yeah, I guess we'll just get started and see how it goes.
So as it turns out, light has a huge impact on how color appears on these walls because the lighting in the store was so much different than the lighting in my room that these colors were just not matching the design that I came up with. Now I knew I was going to have to fine tune a lot of these designs with a brush and kind of put in some details to make it actually look like what I wanted it to. But these colors were nowhere near what we actually needed.
I got 4 new colors. We're just gonna try these out and see what happens.
So at this point, I've already bought about 12 cans of sample paints at about $7 a piece, and I'm not trying to break the bank just to try to find the exact right color.
So this is clearly not gonna work. Like, I'm not going for children's bedroom, you know, I'm going for professional office. And somehow I ended up with children's bedroom. I pretty much should just start painting dinosaurs down there because of how childish this thing looks. Now I know this painting isn't finished, but even if I finish it, it's still gonna look very kiddish, and that's not what I'm going for. I have been struggling to find the right colors. So like over the last week, this has been one of the most stressful things for me. I don't know when I became so indecisive, but I think part of it has to deal with the internet, because the second I go on there and I go looking for stuff, I find all these different opinions from all these different people about color and how we need to do this or do that. I literally got this many of these things. Like, look at this. Look at this. This is like, I can't even show you all the color. Like, I have so many different colors. I literally, like, lost my mind on color. It's been ridiculous because I just couldn't, I don't know. I felt really, really upset about covering up something that I worked so hard on. Like, this original design took me a really long time to do. Took me a long time to paint. Like, it was a lot, and it was a really neat painting, but like I've already ruined it at this point. So I doubled down. I made it through my thick stack of freaking color tab, whatever they call these things, and I finally came up with a color. Well, it's not really a color, but I went with the nuclear option. So if you can see that, that's the color. It's not really a color. It's actually basically black. I pretty much decided that what I'm gonna end up doing is blacking out this entire room. And we're going to start with the doors and trim. I already sanded everything down. I got everything kind of masked out and ready to go. And hopefully this won't be a bad decision, but it probably is.
So now I ended up going with a high gloss paint. Now the whole reason behind that is because when the doors and trim are painted with high gloss, one, it's easier to clean because you're able to kind of scrub it a lot more. But also the walls are going to be painted with a matte color, so it's going to create a bit of a contrast between the two. Now this process, from everything I learned from reading online and stuff like that, is called color drenching. Now I couldn't really find a lot of examples of this with an all black room, because I don't think most people do that because it's like way too dramatic. But you know what? Call me dramatic. I felt like trying something a little bit different. Now, one downside of going with this really dark black color is that you could see every little imperfection or if there were any spots that I missed. So I had to do multiple coats to make sure I covered everything completely.
So I guess it's finally time to say goodbye to this place. Oh man, I can't keep thinking about this thing. I need to just do it. So we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna start with the ceiling and kind of go from there. Time to see if this is a big ass mistake or if it's gonna be really cool. God, I hope this works. No going back now.
Now, when it came to actually painting the walls, I basically started out by doing all the edges first with a brush, and then I'd come back and fill it in with the roller. Now, I mean, painting a wall is not the most difficult thing in the world, so I'm sure most of you probably know how to do that. But I gotta say that when it came to covering up all of my previous work, it was very, very difficult to do at first because I put so much time into that original painting that covering it up just felt, I mean, it felt horrible. But once I started to see how good the black looked, I was like, you know what? This is definitely more what I was going for. Maybe not the most ideal color for someone who deals with depression, but it oddly had a calming effect on me. So I guess I can't really complain too much. You know, the funny thing is I found out later that they actually sell black outlet covers, but I'm really glad I ended up painting them anyway because at least I knew they were going to match correctly to everything else. Like, it was the exact color, so I knew it was going to look good. Especially when you could see the contrast between the high gloss and the flat. Like, I think it just looks super crispy. I think it looks great. But if you would have asked me this like a couple months ago when I first started painting this room, I never would have thought that I was going to paint the whole thing black. Like, the whole color drenching idea, like, I never would have thought to do that initially. It just happened to work out that way through trial and error and eventually getting to a point where I just said, you know what? Screw it. I'm just going to paint the whole thing black because I literally lost my mind. Like, my OCD got the better half of me and it just made me paint everything black.
Okay, so before I go and fill up this entire room with stuff and reorganize my desk and everything else, one thing I've been wanting to do in here that I just haven't gotten around to is actually the ceiling fan. Now, this ceiling fan is the one that's been in here since this house was built, and I'm not a huge fan of it. It's worked fine. I rarely use the fan itself. It sits kind of low. These blades are kind of sagging a bit. It's a really small thing, but basically I found a really good deal on this thing called MacBid. Basically it's like return stuff from Amazon. I got it for real cheap. I got a whole new fan for $20. Like, the only problem is it's missing a couple pieces, but I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be able to just take pieces from this one and make it work because it's the same brand. So yeah, let's go ahead and change out the ceiling fan. So as it turns out, this fan is actually cooked, and there's a reason it was at MacBid in the first place. I'm about to take it down and get a new fan. I ended up going to Home Depot and got a cheap one for about $100. It'll still be nicer than the one that was in here, a little bit cleaner looking, and hopefully I'll get a little bit better light in here because it is dark.
But barring any and all setbacks that we just had, I gotta say that this new fan is actually really easy to put together. Probably one of the easiest ones I've ever done. Now, I find it's always way easier to do this on the floor rather than doing it on the ceiling because then you're raising your arms above head and it's like, you know, it's just tiring and annoying to deal with, versus assembling everything together like this is just way easier to do. Now, I gotta say that one of the coolest parts about the designs with this fan that I liked is the actual blades themselves and how they attach to the fan. Most fan blades, you have to like tie them on with a couple of screws, you know, you put in the main body and then you tighten them onto the arm that it goes onto. Not these ones. These ones, you literally take the blades, pop them in and pull. I mean, it's super simple and easy. I mean, I did the whole thing in no time. Like, it was probably the easiest fan install I've ever done. But then again, that's not saying much because I've only done a couple.
Man, I got a lot of work to do in here. But in the meantime, we're just gonna turn this back on. All right, let's see if this one works. Okay, let's see about the fan. Please be quiet. Don't be super loud. Okay. Cool. Well, at least now I'd say I can actually see in this place because it was really dark without any lights. So these are some like sound panels I used to hang up in the room in here because it helps kind of deaden a lot of the sound. I'm actually gonna have to redo these because the colors just don't make sense in here anymore, so I'm gonna do something else. But I actually had lights attached to these things all the way around. So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take these lights and I'm gonna run it along the back side of this thing, and this is gonna go up against the wall. We'll see if it actually looks cool. It might not, it might be dumb, and if not, oh well, we'll just turn them off and you'll never see them anyway.
Man, so there's one thing I really wish I was more careful with, and that's these dang staples. I literally cut them all over the floor and have literally cut my feet wide open on these little bastards. So yeah, next time I'm probably just gonna use a trash can.
Okay, so that was a bit of a fiasco, but let's just double check and make sure it works. Does not seem to be turning on, so that's not great. There we go. All right, we got it. All right, cool. Let's go ahead and put it up against the wall.
Now, as easy as that was, this couch turned out to be a completely different kind of monster. It was such a fiasco getting this thing in and out. By the time I get it in here, I'm probably never taking it out again, which is lucky because I love this couch. It's super comfortable, but also it brings a bit of lightness to the room because everything's so dark and this couch is really nice and light. It kind of helps brighten up the room a bit, which it really needed.
All right, so I got a whole bunch of new towels that I'm gonna use to make these soundproofing boards. So like I made these a long time ago. I actually made a video about it on a different channel, but what I'm doing is I'm gonna end up basically wrapping the towel on this thing because towels have a really unique property when it comes to sound deadening, especially in a room like this. Like right now you can hear there's definitely like an echo, and it's because there's a lot of hard surfaces on this wall and on the doors and the windows and everything like that. But the cool thing about towels is there's all these little small little fibers and stuff, and when I hung it on this frame, it actually moves a little bit, and because it moves a little bit, it kind of helps with deflecting some of the sound and absorbing some of that. Almost just as good as those little like foam panels you see everywhere, except for this is a hell of a lot cheaper. So I'm gonna redo these things in black, so hopefully they'll blend into the wall and it won't be too ugly. I don't know. I just want it to sound good, especially for when I'm doing voiceovers and stuff like that. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and get to it. Okay, so this is what this room sounds like, completely bare. There is nothing on the walls, there's no real treatment. There is a couch in here and a little bit of furniture that might help a little bit with the sound, and we have carpet on the floor, but other than that, it's very untreated. This is pretty echoey. I can kind of hear it myself just when I'm talking. I can hear it bouncing all over the place. Also, I don't have anything on this window, so it's just like a giant hard glass, like, not good. But we're gonna go ahead and treat everything to show you what the difference is between treated and untreated. So hopefully it sounds better. Let's find out. All right, so I'd say that this sounds way better than what it sounded like before. There's way less echo. This is completely raw out of the camera. There's no editing on this sound, and it just sounds really good. I mean, it's pretty dead in here, which is great. All I did was put up those sound panels and then put up this giant like blackout curtain on the window, and it sounds great. Like the room sounds really, really good. So the only thing I got to do now is finish getting all this stuff organized and figure out just what I'm going to do with my workstation.
So there were a couple major goals that I wanted to achieve with this entire refresh of my studio. Number one was having a clean space to work in, and the other thing was having something really nicely organized and useful. So the first step was going to be my wire management, and one of the best ways to do that was to pull everything out to the furthest point that I would use it, so that way I knew I had enough room to work with before actually tying everything up. Now, wire management, if you've ever dealt with computers, as you know, can be a complete pain in the neck.
It's so hard to work under here.
But it's totally worth it because then it means that you're not going to have wires in your way.
Bam. Nice. Good stuff.
So I think this is actually the first time I've done wire management correctly, and I don't have like wires just dangling all willy-nilly everywhere. I'm actually able to use all of my tools, put things away, pull them out, and have room for everything even when I'm working. So like now I even have a place to put my coffee. Like, it's pretty awesome. Now the real challenge was going to begin, and that's how long can I maintain this level of organization and cleanliness at my workstation? Because if anybody that knows me sees this, they're going to tell you right away, I'm a messy person. Like when it comes to working on stuff, I'll start out clean, but then it ends up with stuff just kind of everywhere in piles. So I have to kind of fight the urge to do my pile syndrome and just put things all over the place. But I think having a nice organized place like this is going to make it much easier to maintain. But I guess only time will tell just how efficient this is going to make me. I think overall it's going to make it to where I can produce things a lot faster than what I was doing before, because things are just laid out in a much smarter way. It's much easier to access everything and use everything, and if it's easy to use, I'm more likely to do it. But I will say that I never truly trust that a webcam is actually off. Physical security is always the best kind of security. Hang on a second. Okay, there. Now you can actually see me a little bit, but this may not be the best camera quality you've ever seen, but this gives you a good idea what this would look like. But imagine if I was actually gaming here or streaming. What in the gross bullshit is this? What's happening? Oh!
I think I killed you too. And I dropped my gun.
Oh, she shot me with the shotgun.
My bad.
I was like, what happened?
I killed the monster, but I also killed you.
Doesn't look half bad. It's a pretty nice little setup. And as you can see, I added a couple of those very typical lights, but it kind of helps add a little something to the room because it's very dark in here.
So hopefully this is a little bit better than a webcam, at least for how much I paid. I really hope so. But anyway, this office that I've been in now after doing all these renovations, I've been using it for quite a while, especially working on this video in particular. This was the first one that I've actually edited since doing all of this work in here. And I gotta say that I really love the vibe in here. It's very cozy. At first I was a little worried because of how dark everything is. Like the lighting is very important in here because there's almost no light. If I shut the lights off, it's pitch black in here. But it's really nice when I'm working, especially when I'm working on the computer, because the thing that I noticed is I'm very easily distracted by things. And the paintings that I had in here before, as much as I loved it, it was very chaotic and very energetic, and it was very distracting sometimes. Whereas with the black, it seems as though like when I'm working on the computer, it's like I kind of melt into it. The background just kind of melts away because everything's so black and dark that the screen just pops and it's all I see. I gotta say that like there is a little bit of noticeable eye strain for me, and I think it's probably just because sometimes what I'll do is as I'm working I'll zone out and like barely blink at all, and then it's dark in here so my eyes just not good. So I gotta figure out a solution for the lighting situation, but other than that I'm really happy with how this place turned out, how it looks. It is night and day better than what it was before. I mean, I can actually walk in and out of my office now, which is phenomenal, because when we first started this thing, this whole area was a complete disaster. The problem is that this thing took so long that I grew a beard. Like, I mean, I've been working on this thing for a few months now. Having a messy desk as well, it's very distracting, very hard to focus. And now I've actually got a desk where, well, I mean, I can actually see the glass now. I mean, it's you know, it's the little things in life that make a big difference, especially when it comes to doing this stuff. Not to mention the fact that the editing software that I normally use upped their prices so much that I had to switch to a new one. So now I'm having to learn a whole new system. So if you've seen a huge delay in my videos, it's because I'm relearning a whole new process. So bear with me if I'm a little behind here. You know, we're starting 2026 off a little bit rough here, but we're going to do the best that we can. I have a ton of stuff that's been going on in the background, not just in my own personal life, but in the videos and things that I've been working on project-wise as far as builds. I actually have a whole new build that I am going to be releasing this year, and I'm really excited about this build. It's so different than anything I've really worked on the channel so far, but it's something that's very close to my heart from before, when I used to do this back when I was in my 20s. I'm not sure exactly where this is going to go. I'm not sure exactly where this channel is going to go. I feel a shift happening just in me and the things that I'm interested in and the path that I want to take. So I hope that if you enjoyed this video, right, which is a complete offshoot from what I normally do, I hope that you stick around to see some of the new changes coming around in 2026. There's a lot of things that I want to change and a lot of things that I want to just do that I'm passionate about. I'm not trying to chase views. I want to chase what I am interested in and what I find interesting and worth sharing. And I hope that if you enjoyed this video, that you'll enjoy those as well. I hope you had a great year, end of the year. If not, I hope that this year is even better than ever for you. And yeah, I'm looking forward to it. 2026. Let's get it. Let's get it.